And hello everyone, and welcome into another recap video that we're going to be talking about the women's side. And I apologize for standing up for just a second. I wanted to make sure that my video settings remain the same since I had some difficulties earlier with my video settings. I believe my video settings are good to go. So without further ado, we're going to dive in previewing all the upcoming women's national tournament opening round matchups. And first matchup takes us to Fort Wayne, Indiana, where the number 2 seeded St. Francis, or number 3 seeded St. Francis Cougars face off against the number 14 seeded Warriors of Indiana Tech. These two teams last met in the regular season. They'll be meeting up again here next Friday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And for St. Francis, they come in 25-4 on the season. Of course, highlighted by several good players: freshman Callie Gregory, senior Chloe McKnight, as well as junior Julia Mantala and sixth-year senior Cassidy Crawford. And the Crossroads League head coach of the year, Jeremy Henney, is the head coach of the Lady Cougars. So obviously they are an extremely good team, and that should be a really, really good matchup next Friday afternoon at 2 p.m. And that will be your matchup there. The next matchup takes us to Indianapolis, Indiana, where the number 3 seeded Knights of Marion come in 23-7 on the season. They will play St. Xavier out of Illinois. They are the number 14 seed. They come in 18-11 out of the Chicagoland Collegiate Athletic Conference. And for these two teams, they actually met in the regular season in non-conference play, the Knights winning 78-59 in that matchup. And for the Knights, they come in a perfect 7-0 in the opening rounds of National League play. So obviously that undefeated streak is on the line. And the winner of this game will play either 6-seeded the Owls of Oregon Tech or the Buffaloes of Milligan out of Tennessee. And for the Owls of Oregon Tech, if they end up playing Marion in the second round next Saturday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, the last time those two teams met was out in Sioux City back in 2019 in the Final Four round, and it was the Owls upsetting the Knights 63-50 for the right to go to the national championship game. So obviously if that matchup happens next Saturday night, the Knights, I'm sure, are going to definitely want to avenge that last loss to the Owls, that's for sure. But the opening round match up against St. Xavier and the Knights of Marion will be at 5 p.m. next Friday night, and that will be your matchup there. The next matchup will take us to Hastings, Nebraska, where the Broncos of Hastings are the host site. They're the number 4 seed, and the opening round matchup will be of course Hastings, as well as I don't remember who the 13 seed is in that pot off the top of my head. Those two teams will be playing first that day. The nightcap of that opening round matchup will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time next Friday night, 7 p.m. Central Time, because of being out in the state of Nebraska. And it will be between the number 12 seeded Lady Foresters of Huntington and the number 5 seeded LSU Shreveport. And for Shreveport, they come in 27-3 on the year, 23-1 in their conference, and they won the River States both the regular season and the conference championship. So this is an extremely, extremely tough team. And meanwhile, for the Lady Foresters of Huntington, they're coming in very first time under head coach Darby Maggard, highlighted by several great players. First of all, senior Gabby Melby, who is averaging 16 points per game. She's shooting over 40% from beyond the arc, 79% at the free throw line. And also mentioning some of the other key players for the Foresters, sophomore guard/forward Kendall Yoakum out of Morgantown, Indiana. She had a career-high 23 points in the blowout win against the Taylor Trojans back on February 19th in Upland, Indiana. And then, of course, outside of her, Annika Nelson, the sophomore forward out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, has played really, really well this year. The sophomore center out of Loveland, Ohio, Liv Raby, who has had a stellar season for the Lady Foresters, and she is the all-time leader in most blocks in a single season. So really, really well deserved for her. And then last but not least, sharpshooter Bailey Kellum, who is just it was lit it up this year from beyond the arc. And she did, of course, did that last year in her freshman campaign. She was named freshman, I believe, freshman of the year, I want to say, last year. And she's had a stellar season again this year. Hasn't shot quite as well from beyond the arc as last year, but still, she's really, really good from three-point range. And she is leading the Crossroads League this year in the highest free throw percentage at 88.9%. So obviously, that's extremely, extremely good. And for the Foresters, they're making their first national tournament appearance since the 2014/2015 season when they went 22-10. And then they lost the opening round matchup that year to College of St. Mary out of Nebraska, 63-54. So the Foresters are looking to avenge that loss that season, hoping for a much better result this go-around. And it's going to be super, super tough. I can tell you that. And of course, you know, I'm a big Wildcat fan, Indiana Wesleyan Wildcat fan. But obviously, when you get to the national tournament, I hope all of these teams have super, super deep runs. The talent level is absolutely amazing this year, so that's super exciting as well. And of course, you know, when you get to the national tournament, your adrenaline starts pumping a little bit more. You get more and more excited. And that's obviously a really good thing as well. But again, that will be an 8 p.m. tip Eastern time out for that Huntington LSU Shreveport game next Friday night in Hastings, Nebraska. And that will be your matchup there. The last matchup takes us to Marion, Indiana, where number 4 in the country and the number 1 seed in their pod, Indiana Wesleyan, 29-2 on the season. They're coming in having won the Crossroads League regular season and the Crossroads League championship, defeating the Knights of Marion 62-58 this past Tuesday night. They welcome number 16 seeded Philander Smith out of Little Rock, Arkansas. And for, excuse me. And for Philander Smith, they've had a really good season, and obviously it's going to be a tough matchup for them. And the winner of that game will face off against either number 8 seeded Grandview out of Iowa. Pardon me. And for the Vikings of Grandview, they are in the Heart of America Athletic Conference. They come in 23-7 on the year, and they play in a super, super tough conference as well. And potentially, if that's not the matchup for either the Wildcats or the Panthers of Philander Smith in the second round next Saturday night at 5, it will be the number 9 seeded Tigers of Olivet Nazarene, who come in 20-10. They are in the Chicagoland Collegiate Athletic Conference. And again, those matchups are not going to be easy. Both Grandview and Olivet, extremely good teams. But it should be, all the matchups should definitely be exciting. And, pardon me, and that will be your matchup there. And that wraps up the previewing all of the upcoming opening round matchups. And if you did enjoy this video, please either like, comment, or subscribe. Any one of those options helps me out greatly. And again, any feedback that you provide me is super, super helpful. Thanks so much for watching this video, and have a great weekend, and God bless.